Okay.
There it is. Oh, my lovely friends. Start printing stuff out for this meeting.
Uh-oh.
Got any issue? This one's all right.
All right. It's now 7 p.m. and I'll call this meeting of council to order. I'd like to respectfully acknowledge that we are holding this meeting on Treaty 1 territory, the traditional lands of the Cree, Anishinaabe, and the homeland of the Métis people. Thank you for attending our meeting. Thank you to those who will be watching. This meeting is being recorded and will be posted on our website in the next day or two, available via YouTube. The social scene requires that we all wear masks in the building, show proof of being double vaccinated, and practice social distancing when possible. Thank you to Dennis and Frank for setting up the venue. We have two council members on the screen tonight. Councillor Kumka from Montreal. Councillor Axworthy is in Winnipeg. And on my far left,
Councillor Bartmanovich.
Raymond Morrow, CAO.
Penny McMorris, Mayor.
And I'm Councillor Graham Randall.
Thank you, gentlemen. Moving on to adoption of the agenda. Be it resolved, the agenda be adopted with the following addition. Bylaw 1627. Are there any further additions? Hearing none, may I have a mover, please? Sorry, backwards.
This is going to be.
This is going to be,
We'll take care of it.
all right, Mike moves it, Graham, second. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, carried. Minutes of the October 19th, 2021 regular council meeting. Be it resolved that the minutes of the October 19th, 2021 regular council meeting be adopted as presented. May I have a mover?
I'll move that.
Graham, second. Mike, thank you.
I reviewed them and they appear to be clear.
All right, any further discussion, gentlemen? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Carried, thank you.
I can't do this with my glasses on. Show you on coffee or something else.
All right, moving on to variation application for 7 Traverse Avenue. I'll open this variance application. It's sort of a hearing, and I'll ask our CAO to speak to the process followed on this application as it goes through the RM office first.
So there was an application put forth. Notice was served by way of the Planning Act. The municipality of Victoria Beach has adopted a stricter way of notifying people who use registered mail. We did not, and we actually went into the Arm of Alexander because where the property is located, the 100-meter buffer includes several properties to the south side of Savvy Road. So we had no objections. We did receive 2 letters in support of the application.
All right, all right, I'll read the resolution. Be it resolved, the Arm of Victoria Beach Council approved the variation application 2021-01, varying the minimum front yard requirement for a main dwelling from 30 feet to 20 feet as follows. Legal description, lot 12, block, plan 3030, civic address 7 Traverse Avenue. And the purpose is to permit the construction of a deck and a sunroom addition. May I have a mover? Mike, thank you. Second, Graham? Thank you. Comments?
I
The way it's been laid out, and thank you, Erwin, for your correspondence on this. This does no one any harm. It really just pertains to the deck, to be within 20 feet of the front lot line rather than the regular 30 feet. It looks like a no-brainer to me. I'm in favor of it.
Mike?
I visited the site, and I'm with Graham. It's not blocking anybody else's view. It's not going to be an encumbrance on anyone else. I have no problem with it.
Erwin or Steve have any comments on this variation? Erwin?
Just one comment. If the lots were a regular rectangle, we wouldn't have this problem. But those lots over there are diamond shaped, but parallelogram. So one corner is well within the acceptable limits. The other corner creeps over a little bit, but there's still a huge amount of land in front of the proposed deck and sunroom. There's no problems with sight lines, so I have no objection to this variance. And it's really nice to see that an old rundown cabin was torn down and replaced by quite a very nice, appropriately designed cabin for the area. And it increases our tax base.
I knew you'd mention that.
Steve?
My position on this is more just one of principle. I understand where everybody's coming from, and I don't hold anybody against what their position is. It's just, for me, anything that's closer to the water requiring a variance, it's just, it always comes back to erosion for me, so, yeah.
There's no exposure in terms of erosion on Albert Beach. Albert Beach gets bigger and bigger when the sand cliffs the road because the sand piles up on our beach.
I understand, it's just still within that 30 feet, so, but as I said, I respect all you guys' opinions on this, and I understand where you're coming from. It's just, mine's more of a principle issue.
There's also a berm in front
Yeah,
of that.
there's also a berm in front of the property.
So because the berm is there, I'm not as concerned about the 20 feet on one corner. All right. And I too have visited the site and I don't see any major issues either. So any further discussion, gentlemen? There's no one in the audience who wishes to speak to this variance? All right, I will call the question. All those in favor? All right, all those opposed? Steve, thank you. Variance is carried.
Does that also adjourn the public hearing?
Yes, I'm not really sure that it's classified as a public hearing, but
Okay, thank you.
I was just trying to cover my bases.
You did.
All right. Thank you, gentlemen. Moving on to accounts and finances. Be it resolved, the following list of accounts be approved for payment. Accounts payable checks 9704 to 9737 in the amount of $130,000, $424.07, and October 29th payroll in the amount of $45,779.03. May I have a mover? Erwin, would you like to move that? All right.
Erwin?
And second? Mike? Thank you. Erwin, any comments?
Again, I've reviewed the list of accounts payable, a couple of notable items, one in the amount of $18,000, which completes the fall brushing that was done by Gary Danowich. Balance of the accounts payable are routine and nothing of any unusual nature. So if everything occurs to be in order. Thank you.
All right. Erwin, can you want to give permission to our deputy mayor Mike to sign the report on your behalf?
His hand is up. Steve, any
Yes,
comments?
please.
That's a yes. Got it.
All right. Any other comments, gentlemen? All right. All those in favor? Carried. Thank you. Moving on to other business. We have a Manitoba Hydro easement. Be it resolved that the arm of Victoria Beach Council grant an easement to Manitoba Hydro with respect to the provision of hydro service to Lot 14, Special Plot Plan 19550, as set out in Agreement Number EAS-0017516. Further be it resolved that the mayor and the CAO be authorized to sign, I lost it, sorry. To sign said agreement. Here we go. On behalf of the municipality. May I have a mover?
I'll move that.
Graham, Mike, second. Any discussion? You all know this is to grant an easement for the hydro over in Albert Beach on the property it's being built on.
Yes.
All right, no questions, no comments? All those in favor?
I'm just looking for my, yeah, I'm on to this. I'm in favor.
Steve, are you in favor? Yes, okay, thank you, all in favor. Carried, thank you. Next up is an MOU for the Next up is the MOU for the cross-country ski group. Be it resolved, the arm of Victoria Beach Council approve the memorandum of understanding between Michael and Maureen Kraus and municipality with respect to grooming ski trails. Further be it resolved, the mayor and the CAO be authorized to sign said MOU on behalf of the municipality. May I have a mover? Mike, thank you. Steve, will you second? Thank you. This was in council's package. You saw the maps attached, and Raymond updated the MOU to reflect the current situation and put it in a better form. I don't have any concerns with it. I know I spoke with Michael and Maureen today about adding in their egress and access points, and I know Raymond spoke to them about that too, adding it on the map, and they will provide those. So, any comments, gentlemen?
Well, since its inception, this had been revised somewhat to accommodate all concerns, so it looks fine to me. I'm sorry, I interrupted. Steve? Erwin?
I mean, all I was going to say really is that, yes, it's essentially updating the MOU that was there before. I mean, I just really want to say that they've done a phenomenal job with the cross-country ski trail that they've done, and it's been just an amazing addition to the municipality. And last year it was so busy. I mean, it's very rare that you'd be able to walk anywhere around where you didn't see cross-country skiers. So I'm all in favor of this.
And I hope you noticed in the agreement that they also have permission from the RM to flat groom some walking trails. They're not mandated to, but if they feel they have the time, they can flat groom them so they're much easier to walk on.
Understood.
All right. Any further comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Carried, unanimous, thank you.
I'll check this week for you. It's easy.
Moving on to the Victoria Bay Estates issue. Be it resolved, the arm of Victoria Beach Council agree to provide a one-time grant of blank to the Victoria Bay Estates Condo Corp in 2022 to financially assist the organization with the capital purchase of a dredger, subject to the following conditions. Provision of a grant of the same or larger amount by the RM of Alexander. Purchase of the dredger by the Condo Corp in 2022, and all operational costs of the dredger to be funded by the Condo Corp. May I have a mover? Mike, thank you. Second, Graham. Gentlemen, you all remember that Gord K came...
I think we've lost them.
No,
No, we're all still here.
we're here, you're there.
We see you,
If
Steve.
you guys can hear us, we can't hear you.
We can hear you fine.
Oh, Dawson, we can't hear you. Can you hear us?
Yes,
I'm going to try to give Mike a call here.
Mike, is there anything on your computer that, or that computer that,
Raymond, have you got any tricks up your sleeve as far as the audio? Now, they were able to hear us earlier. Is that not correct? So who took over the clip?
That's Steve.
Technology's great when it screws up.
Okay, testing again, testing. No?
No?
Sorry guys, we lost you for good.
Are you back? Are we back now?
We didn't hear any of the discussion about the trade.
Okay, so you can hear us now?
No?
No, we're hearing you now, but we didn't hear like any of the discussions.
We-
Oh, can you hear us now?
Yeah.
Oh, we were just entering the discussions on the dredging.
We stopped, we did not have the discussion, so.
It's been moved and seconded only.
You could got a little bit again.
Well, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Sure.
Is there a cable loose? Battery. Ah, the dreaded battery plate.
Battery?
No, Mike's back. Well, Mike, we can see you now, but we still can't hear you.
Yeah, I'm gonna shut my, can you hear me now? No?
There you go, we got you.
Okay, it could be bandwidth. Maybe shut down some devices if we can.
Well, I'm in airplane mode.
Okay, that's good.
Are you in airplane mode?
I didn't bring myself.
No, I mean your laptop.
I don't know where the plane is. Can't find the airplane.
That mouse. For a second. Yeah, the other mouse.
To answer Graham's question or comments, there's usually a cable loose, but it's usually in my head.
Oh, that airplane.
Yeah, that airplane.
Well, now how'd you cut me off?
Well, I took off your internet.
Okay, I'm not using it.
No, you're not, no.
The files are
As best we
captured.
can.
All right,
Okay.
gentlemen, are you able to hear us now? Can you, yes, okay. So let me back up. Did you hear the resolution as it was read?
Well, we heard part of it, but we didn't hear what you filled in.
We have not filled in anything
Haven't
yet.
filled in yet.
We've just seconded the motion. So the discussion is about to start, and you remember that Gord Kay came to talk to us in October about this. And at that time, he asked council for a $25,000 donation. He claimed the Arm of Alexander was going to contribute $75,000. I'm not sure what number council wants to put into this resolution. It is a 2022 budget discussion. And I do have some concerns about $25,000 for a dredger that doesn't really benefit even close to the majority of our residents. But, Graham?
After the presentation, we were sort of leaning towards saying okay to the 25,000, but you've indicated you've kind of had second thoughts on further review.
I've always had second thoughts on this.
Would you propose an alternate figure?
Well, I'd like to hear what the rest of council has to say. Steve? Steve, you're frozen. There you go.
I think that what you're saying on, are you able to hear me now?
Yeah. Yes.
Yes?
Yes,
Oh, I think that what you're saying is fair on face value. The only thing though is that, and again, the dollar figure escapes me, but essentially, if I remember correctly, we would be able to pay with the amount of money to pay for this 25,000 within about 5 or 10 years or so. The bottom line is that if we were to invest 25 now, then in the long term, in the middle of the long term, we've already just going to save money. And so that's the reason why I would be in favor of putting the 25,000 to this contingent on Alexander contributing their 70 or 75,000, whatever was forward there. If Alexander's prepared to put in what was promised, then I'm more than in favor of saying 25, because again, it will save Victoria Beach money in the middle long term.
Thank you, Steve. Mike?
Speaking for the only other semi-bona fide boat launch in the RM, which is at the end of 504, I'm hoping that that this dredging exercise will actually help to alleviate some of the congestion at the end of 504 by actually providing a real boat launch.
I think that's valid. I think the end of 504, it should alleviate some pressure there. It should alleviate some pressure on Victoria Beach Marina at the end of the pier. But also the Traverse Bay boat launch, we've been told is going to be up and running shortly. Right, so that will also alleviate some pressure. I do see the value in this, but I'm not sure I see that kind of value. But, Erwin? Sorry,
Okay.
I would be interested to know who, in addition to Alexander, what other parties have stepped up to the plate and made object.
My understanding is that some residents in down Pelican Point have made a donation, a significant donation. I understand that Mitch Poirier is on board, and I don't know what his role is other than owning the marina. And of course, the condo corp would have to put some money towards this, as the 80, I think there's over 80 properties in there. So they would have to put money towards it as well. How much, I don't know.
Okay. Excuse me. I think when you factor in the savings to what we're having to fork in for the dredging every year, I think that that offsets it. I don't think we should underestimate the benefits to members of our community who make use of this. I like the 25,000.
What's the thoughts on the 25,000 figure?
I'd like to see a little more detail on the financial commitments that are being made. If I may make a suggestion, I'd like to suggest that this motion be tabled, and we go back to the organizers on this project and ask for more financial details.
The alternative, Erwin,
I'll
is,
second that.
the alternative, guys, is we could say up to 25,000.
Yes, there are already provisions within the resolution subject to the other parties anting up their funds. I like the up to 25. That way we can get her done and move on.
Does that work for you, Steve? Up to 25?
I would second Erwin's motion to table, only because I think that
We've lost you.
the concerns, just having a little bit of a closer look, especially give it some time to just talk to Alexander and to see what their thoughts are on that.
All right. Erwin?
Yeah, I'd just like, it's time to show your cards. I'd kind of like to see what's on the table.
Okay.
Up to is about the same as saying, let's table this for 2 weeks and find out, get a little bit more
I
information.
don't have a
All right. I'm hearing
You
that
got 2 up 2s.
we've got two and two.
Well, where are you?
I'm at the up to.
Okay. Well, we got 3 up.
I am prepared now to support the 25, only because I know that in the middle of long term, that it will save Victoria Beach money. But just because there is some reservation, then again, would be in favor of seconding to table.
Well, I need some advice. If someone at tabled, do I table motion?
We got 3 up 2s.
Yeah, we've got 3 of us saying up to 25,000. We can still ask
Oh,
for
yeah.
more financial financial information.
Well, that's what's gonna drive the up to, isn't it?
Yeah, so,
Could we amend provision number 1, just to take into account that more information from Alexander and get it through that way?
No, just have
Just
to,
leave it
just
as
have
it
to
is.
insert the 2 words up to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay, we're there.
Up to,
all right,
Let's do it.
Our commitment could be $1.
exactly.
I can go along with that, you know, again, if we make a commitment up to a certain amount, and then at the same time ask for more financial details, then I think we can all make an informed decision as to, you know, who's in and who's out.
Absolutely.
all right. So it looks like it will be reading, be it resolved, the Armor Victoria Beach Council agree to provide a one-time grant of up to $25,000 to the VB Estates Condo Corp. in 2022 to financially assist the organization, etc. We've already moved and seconded this, so Mike and Graham, so all those in favor?
Aye.
Carried unanimous, thank you. Thank you, gentlemen, good discussion. Up next is the waste and recycling site development. Be it resolved that the tender from blank for the clearing and preparation of the waste and recycling depot site be accepted at a total bid price of blank excluding GST. So I can't move or second this until we've had a look at the tenders. Are we going to go ahead with this tender given that we don't have access approval from MIT at this point? This is the story that never ends.
Access approval has never been an issue in the establishment of this site for the waste and recycling depot. As a phase 2 safety acknowledgement, indeed we will request a permit for a new access, a separate access from the Public Works and Fire Hall access. The rationale behind that is that the existing access can then be made exclusively for the use of Public Works and the Fire Department, and we can have a new separate public access to the new depot. That's not really the stopping point at this point. The point is, if we award the tender tonight, the successful bidder can't start until the area has been cleaned. And the area has not been cleaned, and I have no indication as to when a sufficient amount of the area could be cleaned that they could start the excavating of the site. I don't know, are there any timetables with Public Works in terms of when they were planning on getting the equipment and the machinery and the refuse moved out of the area?
Well, as I understand it, the problem with that is they have nowhere to put it all. If they put it behind Public Works, they have to do a big clearing project, clear out a bunch of trees, add more gravel, and then move everything over there. That includes 2 sheds. Are you saying they move the sheds or just all the,
No, I'm not.
all the stuff?
Sorry, I'm talking about, no, just the area. I mean, a lot of the stuff could just be pushed one way or the other. Just the 250 and 250, and of course, there has to be access for the equipment to get in there and do the clearing.
Yep.
It seems to me that this hasn't been discussed with Public Works. And
Public Works has received pictures of what needs to be cleared.
all right. Do you have anything to add? No.
The debris that Public Works has to clear out of the way, there's not really all that much. We're just talking about close to 1 corner of the 250 by 250. It's just moving stuff around, and then after the work has been done, they'll have no end of room to put their stuff. I think the issue lies with Raymond instructing Public Works to move their junk.
They would say it's not junk.
Well, stuff.
Uh,
It's nice stuff. Just looks like junk.
Well, I don't know that it just seems to me there's been a communication lag or something on this. So I don't know how we're gonna get through this, but we need to have a discussion with Public Works about what you need moved. It wasn't clear to me either, to be honest. Doesn't have to be, I don't have to move it, but it wasn't clear to me either. I'm still trying to figure out which plan we're on. It's changed a couple times.
Well, no one came back to me and asked.
I'm asking you now.
And again, pictures were provided in the instructions to Public Works when the plan was made that this is going to be the site, and a roadway had to be cleared behind the westmost sheds, and equipment and steel and wood and hose, scrap metal and such would have to be moved to the east and possibly a little bit to the south to allow the machinery to get in and clear the space.
And will the machinery go around the existing bins, et cetera, the recycling bins? Will go around the front of that or behind it?
They will turn before the sheds and go in south and west, up and around the sheds. They'll clear as they go.
Mike, I think our central reference point stake, which marks the corner, the southeast corner of the 250 by 250, I believe that's still in place.
Yeah, I hope, yeah.
Perhaps
it should
we
be.
could agree to meet one more time with Public Works and show them what needs to be done, and ask for their cooperation in moving it. I think they'll find that it's they've got enough room for it, even if it is just temporary, and they're going to have no end of space once the recycle has been relocated. Set a time and a date and let us know, or how do you like that?
Well, we can defer till Friday then, because I won't be able to meet with Public Works till Friday.
And I know Trevor's not here on Friday.
Well, Saturday then. I'm gonna be away for the next 2 days.
Monday?
Unless Mr. Randall doesn't mind standing in for me.
Maybe Monday's a better day all
All
around.
right, we'll make it Monday.
We'll aim for Monday.
Okay.
Raymond, will you set that up with Trevor, please?
Erwin or Steve, do you have any comments on this so far?
I mean, based on what I hear, yeah, then obviously the discussion needs to happen with Public Works first. I'm vehemently against the site plan that I've seen. I've made that very clear for a while. The fact that those two small structures are preventing us from being able to clear out but affected the dump or there's it's just ridiculous. All that waste, if we absolutely need to take it, if we absolutely need to do something with it, to just become a scrapyard, we can put it behind the Public Works. I don't think there's any need that we need to take out such a massive swath of the forested area. I think that the whole thing needs to be rethought, and it's just, again, there's no need to take out that much land for a garbage transfer station. And unfortunately, we got this wrong several years ago. We're paying for it now, but I just do not like the plan that I've seen.
Did I mention it's 80% balsam back there?
85%. We've consulted with several outfits on the space. As a matter of fact, it was Public Works who advised that we should enlarge it to 250 by 250, so we got room for trucks, residents in their vehicles, and room for Public Works storage of materials. Public Works was very cooperative when we met and walked all over the dam lot, and we were going to go half a mile west. That didn't add up. But it was their idea, and I appreciate their input, to enlarge to 250 by 250, and the fenced area enlarged to 180 by 180, and keep it to the back. Trevor was very helpful in his recommendations there. We just have to go there and point out and agree on what has to be moved, even if it's just temporary, so that the successful contractor can get in and start to do the work.
What I would like to see happen tonight is that we award, with the proviso that work cannot begin until after we have consulted with Public Works on Monday,
Yeah.
and a plan to clear the area.
Well, I'll agree with that. Madam Mayor, where are we at the moving and the seconding, or are we in the discussion now? No, we have to haggle over the.
You have to determine the tender.
Yeah.
You're gonna
All
award the
right,
tender.
out of the tenders, and Raymond has laid them all out very nicely for us, we have them all here. I think I don't believe it's inappropriate to ask, out of the various tenders, Mike, is there one that you're prepared to recommend as the best overall value? Gotta think about it.
Well, no, I'm wondering on protocol here. Are the tenders supposed to be, opened and read before discussion?
Yes, correct?
I think they have to be displayed,
All right.
revealed.
So we received 3 quotes, I believe.
4.
Pardon me, 4. Wayne's Backhoe and Excavation. I will just go to the total, if that's all right. No? You don't want me to?
I was just gonna say the names and then the
The
numbers.
total, and you should be consistent as to whether the 5% GST is in or out in your figures.
All right, so Wayne's Backhoe quoted on this project for a total of $137,600 plus GST. Freestyle Landscaping quoted on this project for a total of $133,480 plus 5% GST. Chabot Enterprises quoted this project for a total of $163,640.
And he doesn't mention the
He does not
GST.
mention the GST.
So we have to assume it's not included.
Okay.
Safe haven.
And I'm just going through all of Chabot's. Safe Haven quoted on this project, $202,539.75, but that includes the GST.
So if we take it out.
So, we have the 4 quotes, 4 bids.
Well, I read through the quotes, and first of all, thanks to all the contractors for sticking with us through the 2 evolutions of the tendering process. Yeah, well, yeah, I guess you could say 3. My personal choice from a price point of view, but also from the fact that it was the only quote that had any kind of timeline attached to it, which was a request of the tender, and that was Freestyle.
Steve or Erwin, do you have any comments?
I'm a little concerned about awarding a contract when we're still uncertain about exactly what we want to do. Is it appropriate for us again to table this tendering process until Public Works and Administration and Council can come to a decision as to exactly what they want to do?
With respect, there is no question about what we want to do. It's when can we do it?
It's just a matter of working out some details with Public Works. And with the tenders having been publicly revealed, there's no way we could put that genie back in the bottle.
Steve?
Perhaps I misunderstood that, so Public Works is not opposed to moving their stuff, they're just concerned about when they can do it, is that correct?
It's my understanding they're not entirely sure what they're moving or where they're able to move it
Yep.
to.
And it's reasonable for them to expect us to help us decide that with them. And we've set Monday as a date.
Steve?
I mean, I suppose for me, it's more of a procedural question. I mean, you may be able to correct me if I'm wrong here, but I mean, we never even voted on the actual site plan as to whether or not we were all for it or not. I mean, you guys all know my position on this project and what's being proposed, but it just seems to me that so we're going straight ahead with a quote, and we're just going full bore into this proposed site plan, and yet we haven't even we haven't even voted on whether or not everybody's in favor of that site plan. And obviously, for us to do that, then that needs input from Public Works and everybody who's invested in the project.
We've had that input, and I've acknowledged Trevor's very valuable input.
But Steve makes a valuable
We
point.
had a discussion about this at a previous meeting, and a decision was made to accept the proposal that Mike and Graham had put together.
Yep.
Unless I'm
Indeed,
mistaken.
you are not mistaken. This is a done deal.
That was my understanding now.
Well, then you guys already know my vote on this, so I mean, feel free to put it before, but I won't be supporting this under any circumstances.
Well, Steve, you're opposing a principle, as a matter of principle, destroying 250 square feet of trees, and we respect your opinion, your principle on that. But that's not really part of the issue here. So if you vote against or abstain,
250 square feet is the width and
times, yeah, 250 by 250.
Public Works all the way essentially to the highway that were taken out.
Oh, no, there's a 100-foot buffer zone to the highway. We want trees to conceal the 250 by 250 gravel pad.
As I said, you guys know my position on the site plan of action.
Yep. And we respect your position.
Absolutely.
For what it's worth, seeing as how we're about to haggling over the dollars, Mike appears prepared to recommend freestyle. I'll join him in recommending that we accept the quote from freestyle for the reasons that he's given.
Erwin? Do you agree to Freestyle's bid, Erwin?
I can support freestyle.
Okay. I can support Freestyle as well, but I do remain concerned that this all has to go through Public Works. And I know you're assuring me that it will.
Well, it has to where nothing happens.
Right,
Period.
and we also do need an access, a different access, right? So we need approval from MIT
Yep.
on this project, or on this access part of the project.
Okay, we have the votes?
Let me go back to the resolution.
Can I ask one more question? I mean,
Certainly.
if there's outstanding conditions that need to be met before the contract can proceed, again, is it appropriate to vote on or to select a particular contractor at this stage? What happens if we don't get the necessary approval? Where does that lead us from a contractual point of view with respect to a commitment to a contractor? I'm not a lawyer.
It's not a matter of approval, it's a matter of agreement and cooperation.
We may just reduce the scope of the work being performed.
But then that's not, this tender is not going to apply if we reduce the scope of the work.
That's right, then we start all over again.
So it just, what I'm hearing is I know this has been going on for some time, but I don't feel that this is really the right solution at this point in time to go ahead with a tender, awarding a tender when we don't know if it's going to be where it's supposed to be or where you want it to be. We don't know how big it's going to be. We have the drawings, but nobody seems to be in agreement.
We know exactly how big it's gonna be and where exactly it's gonna
Well, the
be.
discussion was, you know what the size is going to be. It was just very clear a few minutes ago, no matter what anybody says, we already voted on it, and apparently it's 250 by 250, period, end of story. That's what was just said by several councilors a couple minutes ago. So that's what you're voting on. That's apparently that's what we've all agreed on.
Right, so we're voting on the clearing and the preparation of the waste and recycling depot.
And we appear to have 3 in favor of freestyle.
Yes, but is this really the right move at this time? I think both Erwin and Steve have some valid concerns.
Can I hear ballots?
I don't have a problem with the project. I'm a little concerned about the consternation that seems to be brewing between Public Works and Council, and you know, I don't like conflict, and it would be good if we could reach some sort of consensus on this.
Can I make a friendly amendment?
Raymond, is it appropriate to table the motion at this point?
What I suggested to Penny is I can add another clause to this resolution, making the award of that tender subject to approval of a separate driveway access by Manitoba IT. So, if you pass this, you're definitely in a liability position.
Yeah, we might be left hanging. That's reasonable. I can't argue with that. The question is one of timing. Who knows how long this highway is going to take? And we've all made a commitment to our residents to move that damn waste and recycling. I don't want to have to explain to them next year why they're still going to that circus the way it is right now. But I can't argue against holding out for the highway's approval. And that gives us lots of time to make a friendly deal with our friends, sometimes friends, at Public Works. We'll work it out, don't worry.
All right,
So you're suggesting we table it pending, or we write into it right now, subject to Highways granting permission?
As you said, cat's out of the bag. All those tenders are going to be announced.
Yeah. So just make it subject to getting permission from Highways, and then that sits there while we work out the what goes where details with the fellows at Public Works.
does that sound better, gentlemen? I'm not hearing anything. All right,
Erwin, can you hear us? Erwin, wave your hands.
oh dear, I think we might have lost them.
Well, he was in.
Okay, I don't think they can hear us, so I think, based on that alone, I don't think we should go forward with this at this time. However, what do you recommend that we do now? Like you say, the quotes will be in the minute.
Let's pass it. We got 3 votes. Let's pass it with the provision that subject to highway permission.
However, that was not in the tender documents, correct, Mike?
That is correct.
So now we are adding another condition, if you will, to the tender, that the people who tendered it are not aware of.
Yep.
We're adding something into phase 1 that was in phase 2, and that was a separate access for the waste and recycling depot. Just the fact that we are removing the bins from the Public Works property is already removing 80–90% of any kind of safety concern that this project is bringing. And to hold up the entire process on the access is Well, it's untenable for me.
Well, a worst-case scenario is you give the 4 bidders the opportunity to reconsider their pricing if it's delayed a month or 2 or 3. Some of them put little escalation factors in there.
Well, it's spring now.
Yeah,
I think we are in a bit of a pickle here, gentlemen, because we went ahead with the tenders and announced them. The only thing,
Because council signed off on this.
It's true.
that's my understanding.
And now this project is going to be held hostage. And I don't appreciate it. Pardon me for speaking out of turn, but I do not appreciate it.
understood. So, gentlemen, let's try and wrap this discussion up in a logical fashion. We have received and read out the 4 bids for this project.
We've agreed which one we like.
We have agreed that we would accept freestyle landscaping. So I believe I don't have much option, even though we've discussed tabling it, even though we've discussed holding back, waiting for MIT. I don't think that's fair to the tenders, the people who have put in the tender. And I think we do have to have a meeting with Public Works to go forward on this. We do have to submit the information to MIT. That's a good question. Could we ask the successful
What's the
bidder?
worst case scenario? Could both get the agreement from the access?
Then we are using the same access
Does
that
that compromise the operation of the recycling?
it compromises the safety at the current access, in my view. But is there some way, sorry, Raymond.
Well, the current situation isn't very good either.
Correct, but there would be a lot more traffic coming in there if we remove all of our outside bins. All the traffic would be coming
And
in.
maybe
Yeah.
I need to ask you, Tom, is it better to do it right or just simply do it? Because right now we're just voting to do it. So which way do you want to do it? Do you want to do it right or do you just want to get it?
I think we're voting to do it right. It's just a matter of how much are we going to be held up by highways, that's all.
What I suggested to Penny was, why don't we go back, why don't I go back to freestyle and ask them if they're willing to wait a finite number of days or to delay the contract, to delay the work.
Awarded on condition of the permit. Let's just get this going.
Yeah.
And hopefully the site's clean up by the time we get a permit.
And it's totally appropriate to approach the chosen bidder to explain to them that there's an element of timing that you weren't told about and give them a chance to respond to that. And then, with the proviso that it be subject to highways approval, I think we're in and done and past this.
So do you want Raymond to add that proviso to this?
I think so. I think I can't deny that it's a reasonable provision.
Are you all right with that? If Raymond adds subject to the MIT access approval?
Sounds like the majority is okay with it, so let's go.
Okay.
So to be clear, Mike and Graham are in favor of this amendment, slight amendment?
Yes.
Yes.
The audio is a little choppy.
Okay, yeah, we're in favor.
Yes. I don't know if you can see me.
Yeah, I can support that as well.
Okay, well, that's 3. Steve doesn't like it, and that's his prerogative. I respect that.
We all know that we've had a serious bear problem, and this is going to be a positive step towards making a major step forward to solve that problem.
Well, and we've promised our residents that all these satellite bins would be gone by spring.
All right, gentlemen,
Okay.
let me reread the new resolution. Be it resolved that the tender from Freestyle Landscaping Inc. for the clearing and preparation of the waste and recycling depot site be accepted at a total bid price of $133,480, excluding GST, subject to approval of the second driveway access to the site by Manitoba Infrastructure and Transportation. All right. Any all those in favor, pardon me, I have to get a mover.
I'll move that.
Thank you, Graham. Second.
Irwin?
Irwin, second. Thank you. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
1, 2, 3.
I can't see. Irwin, is your hand up?
Yeah.
Okay. Opposed? Steve? Thank you. 4-1. Sorry, I didn't have my hand up. That was... All right. Carried. Thank you for the discussion, gentlemen. 2021 fire personnel honorariums. Be it resolved, the Arm of Victoria Beach Council approved payment of the following honorariums for 2021. Fire chief, $3,000. 2 deputy fire chiefs at $2,000 each. Fire department secretary treasurer at $1,630. May I have a mover?
I'll move that.
Graham, thank you. Second. Mike, thank you. Discussion? This is basically an annual event.
It is what it is. It's a tradition until such time as we undo the tradition, but now's not the time.
All right. Any other comments, gentlemen? Steve?
I don't think there's any reason to undo to save their municipality at least twice from major fires, which could have taken out the RM. They protect us nonstop, and even through this nightmare that we find ourselves in, they're still up there, they're still working, they're still doing everything that they can to protect every single life inside of Victoria Beach, whether or not it's the 500 or 800 that are permanent residents now, or the 10,000 that are there during the summer. They do a phenomenal job, and this should never be terminated.
Agreed. And whether we should continue with this tradition.
What we do.
Yeah, agreed. They do a wonderful job, and whether we should continue with this tradition will be dealt with at 2022 budgeting.
All right. Any further discussion? Mike, any comments?
Nope.
Okay. All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Carried unanimous. Thank you. Next up, bylaw 1627. Be it resolved that bylaw 1627, being the building bylaw, be given first reading. May I have a mover? Mike, thank you. Graham? You second?
I'm looking for it. Yeah, I'll second it.
Okay, thank you. Discussion, gentlemen? This is an updated bylaw that has been circulated to council. It's first reading, so. Any-
Raymond, could you give our electorates just a brief update on what's changing?
The only thing that's changing are the schedules. One schedule, Appendix A, for some strange reason, had a reference to trailers. It also had a reference to trailers and a permit fee. Well, we don't allow trailers, so I don't know why that was in there. So I've taken that out. And then on page 20, it was Article 5. I don't know if it's still Article 5 in the new bylaw, dealing with leveling and beam replacement. There was some confusion as to the fees that would apply. And so now in the new bylaw, the new amendment schedule, it has been clarified to state leveling and post replacement is $60 flat fee. And then there's a separate category now called concrete pad replacement, gravel base replacement, beams or joist replacements. All three of those require a professional engineer's report. In addition, there's now specific fees that apply. 50% or more of the entire square footage area of the structure will cost you $300 flat fee, and less than 50% of the entire square foot area of the structure will be $150 flat fee. And the last thing that was changed is the very last schedule, which is page 25, to do with skirting. The existing bylaw just says you need a permit to skirt a dwelling or a building. It now, instead of saying that, it just says to skirt a pad and post building, it's a $300 flat fee, so it's clear what the fee will be. So basically just a clarification of some of the
Okay.
confusing items.
Yeah, well, these are fairly straightforward revisions to 1627 to make it more accurate and bring it up to date. And I have reviewed it, Raymond, and your highlighted areas, and I have no problem.
Okay, thank you, Graham. Thank you, Raymond. Gentlemen? Steve?
I mean, the only thing I'll tack on to it is just, now that we have some more specifics about skirting in your cabin, start here is from burning down, in the event of a wildfire aside from a fire smarting your property, which it is a part of.
Okay, thank you. All right, any further discussion?
No?
All right, all those in favor? Steve?
Sounds like.
Carried.
you're in favor.
Unanimous, thank you. All right. Sorry, John. All right, moving on to correspondence. Anything to bring forward?
No, the dust has to settle on my correspondence before I make it public.
Okay. Steve, did you have any correspondence to bring forward?
I didn't have enough time to do my usual vaccine research, so I'll just say get vaccinated, it's safe. The more that we get vaccinated until we get 100%, then this thing won't be over, so please do your part and just get the jab. It's super easy and it's completely safe.
Okay, great, thank you.
This might be out of order, but I'll direct your question to Raymond. Are we going to leave the brushing contract agreement for the next meeting? I'm surprised it wasn't on this agenda.
It came a little late.
Yeah. Okay, so it'll be on the next one?
Or, yeah, we may just be able to settle that otherwise.
Yeah, okay, that's fine. That's answers my question. Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else? All right, hearing nothing, I will move on to adjourn. Be it resolved November 2nd, 2021 regular council meeting be adjourned. Next regular council meeting to be held on November 18th, 2021 at 6:30 p.m., 705 1661 Portage Avenue in Winnipeg. May I have a mover?
I'll move that.
Thank you. Mike will second.
All in second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Carried. I hope. All right, there we go. Thank you, gentlemen. Meeting's adjourned.
Always.
I don't know.